Well, Intellivision didn't respond, so we have an entry for a default. What does that mean? We'll talk about it right now. Hello, humans, and welcome to another episode of Gen X Gamer. The demise of Intellivision has been a slow burn, right? And what are we talking about today? We're talking about the old Intellivision LLC not responding to the lawsuit, right? The one where Tommy Tallarico had signed a personal guarantee. What does that mean? It means he's on his own. For me, guys, I can't, for the life of me, right, whether you like Tallarico or not, and, most people that watch my show either don't like him or find him very entertaining because none of us invested, right? I find him entertaining, number one. Number two, he gives me the opportunity to talk about different things that I wouldn't talk about, on a YouTube channel when it comes to business. Business relationships sometimes go sour, right? But, we have a saying in Italian and in Spanish, right? And I'll give you the Spanish version because it's a little bit easier to translate, at least for me. And it's that God loves everybody except for ingrates, right? And you can forgive a lot of sins that people do against you, a lot of wrongdoings, if you will. But being ungrateful is one of the hardest one, right? The hardest one to forgive people for when you've actually done something for them. And whatever you want to say about Tallarico, the one thing that he did is he made money for his friends. This is not the way to run a scam. This is absolute ineptitude, in my opinion, right? Because this is not what you do if you got the money. If you got the bag, you do everything to preserve it, right? And a lot of people have theories about him trying to sell things for A, B, or C reasons. I don't see it, right? I don't see it, and I'll tell you why. Mr. Tallarico, number one, would be ill-advised to try to mess with anything that has to do with the IRS, anything with the government, given his track record. He already got forgiven once. You think the IRS is going to forgive him if he's doing shenanigans? Do you think the Treasury, the SEC is going to look fondly if they find any misdoings? I don't think so. I think this is just ineptitude. His lawyers would have told him already, hey, you got to do X, Y, or Z, right? Hopefully he's getting good legal advice because right now he's on his own. Intellivision Entertainment did not respond to the lawsuit. And therefore, let me show you here, and we're getting this from our friends, of course, over at Reddit, and that's the Intellivision_Amico thread. I'm going to put a link down below, get everybody credit because these people do really hard work. They're always on top of everything, and they deserve all the credit. And some of the comments are great, by the way. It's always a great read. I recommend that you subscribe. So, Amore Equipment and Finance, filed this enter default on defendants, and they put Intellivision Entertainment LLC. Are they requesting? They're requesting an entry of default. They want the judge to enter a default judgment because Intellivision never responded, right? That's what they're seeking. I wrote on here, it's each man for himself. Now it's a civil war. And it is. Mr. Tommy Tallarico's on his own. None of the people that he helped are coming to his aid, as far as we know, because they would have paid this, right? If you get all 17 people that were on there that took salaries, that took large salaries for the money and for the work that nobody can find as existent, right? If you did an audit on this company, I'd be surprised to see how many working hours were spent in the office by any of these people. But I think the most poignant comment here right away is by Gatoruz, right, our friend of the show. The LLC in the suit has already seemingly been abandoned long ago. Only the Delaware company and the holdings company are not suspended by the CAFBT-SOS, which means the California Franchise Tax Board, and Secretary of State, by the way. Not sure on the legal maneuvering required to try and go after any of the other LLCs that still hold the IP. That would be very hard, I think. And usually in these cases of what I'm familiar with, guys, and again, this is not legal or financial advice, they go forever, did the guarantee. Why are you going to go search for records and do all these other things, try to untangle, filings, when when you have a person right there with the property, right? If you get a judgment against Tommy Tallarico, then you just put a lien on his properties. It's as easy as that, right? If you're able to get a judgment. Now he's going to fight this, and it's going to cost him a lot of money. Hopefully, I don't, guys, all these people are, in a heap of trouble, right? Trouble that nobody I would wish on anybody, right? Because these companies won't forgive. You might be able to reach a settlement, but once they get a judgment, it doesn't matter what you do, right? If they get a judgment and we don't know what properties were held here, and anybody would be ill-advised to do any shenanigans here, specifically Tommy Tallarico. He's had a history already, right? We remember the $100,000. We remember the SEC, right? So I know people speculate a lot about, moving stuff around and the sales of his items and all that stuff. The IRS does not mess around with this stuff, right? They don't. The courts even less, right? So everybody's going to lawyer up here and, do what they need to do on their own best interest, right? It's every man for himself here. It really is. Tommy Tallarico is in an island all on his own, and we don't know if there's any other personal guarantees. That really is the issue here, right? If this is a scam, it's the most inept scam that I have ever seen. It really is. Even if you wanted to scan something and move money out to Panama or the Cayman Islands or whatever, you still have the IRS to contend with. There's something not right here. There's a large part of data that we're missing. This is why this is such a slow burn. But I think a lot of information we're going to get from these court filings, not only from that, specifically from Tommy Tallarico's response, right? Because his lawyer is going to do whatever is best in Tommy Tallarico's interest. And if that means pointing out some of the things that went on in television that affected Tommy Tallarico negatively, he will do so, right? He's got to defend his client. That's why this becomes a civil war. But for all these people that Tommy made money for, of course, it's all investor money, but all these people that took salaries, right? People that are, still there, that are not going to talk about any of this stuff. Nobody could help Tommy out, right? Out of all the people that took, additional compensation, as well as people that took, hundreds of thousands of dollars back in loans, in salary, nobody could help this guy. It shows you who your real friends are, right? I think a lot of the Amico supporters on YouTube were better friends than the people that he gave money to. But this is where you're at right now. This is going to be a real slow burn, and we're going to learn a lot about these people involved. But one thing I know, one way or another, Mr. Tallarico is the one who's going to pay. All right, guys, I will catch you on the next one. Take care.
New videos every week. Make sure you don't miss out and subscribe.